Near the edge of the ear, another tick appears. Every few moments, a tick is spotted. One quick pull, and it disappears. The oxpecker pauses. Its head tilts slightly, judging the angle. Then, with one swift pull, the parasite is gone. Flies scatter each time the hippo twitches its thick skin, only to return moments later. The sun rises slowly over the Luangwa River, painting the water with soft golden light.
A massive hippo crashes into the river. Water erupts around its enormous body before it disappears beneath the surface.
For a brief moment, it seems as though the river itself has swallowed one of Africa's largest animals. Tiny ticks still cling tightly around its ears, others hide near its eyes, more are buried deep inside the folds of its thick, muddy skin. One after another, they quietly feed, unnoticed by almost everyone, except the animal forced to carry them. Patience. This giant can defend itself against powerful rivals. Its jaws can crush almost anything that stands in its way. Yet again, it shakes, it sinks beneath the water, it rises again. The parasites remain. Then, without warning, a small brown shape cuts across the morning sky. A bird lands gently on the hippo's head. Instead of chasing the visitor away, the giant stays perfectly still. The tiny bird tilts its head, studying every wrinkle and every patch of skin. Its bright red beak moves toward the hippo's ear. One quick peck, the first tick disappears. For the hippo, it is only a tiny moment of relief. For the red-billed oxpecker, it is simply the beginning of Its claws grip the rough, mud-covered skin with surprising confidence, while its sharp eyes search every crease for movement. Near the edge of the ear, another tick appears. The oxpecker pauses. Its head tilts slightly, judging the angle. Then, with one swift pull, the parasite is gone.
The hippo barely reacts. It simply stands there, allowing the tiny worker to continue.
There is no sudden movement, no sign of irritation, only quiet patience as the bird searches for the next hidden meal. But work like this demands constant concentration. The oxpecker cannot afford to miss what hides inside the deep folds of skin. Every wrinkle could conceal another blood-filled tick. Every successful peck brings another small reward. After several careful searches, the bird finally stops. Its beak has been working since the first light of morning. Now it needs a short break. Leaving the giant behind, it lowers its bright red beak into the cool water, taking one drink, then another.
A dragonfly slips silently past. The bird steps into the shallow edge of the river, splashing water across its body.
Patiently, it begins cleaning each feather, one at a time. Even a cleaner has to stay clean before returning to work. Across the river, the hippos are still waiting. The morning sun climbs higher, and its warm light spreads across the calm water. Slowly, the river begins to sparkle. From beneath the surface, the same hippo rises once more. For most animals, coming this close to a fully grown hippo would be a dangerous mistake. Its claws settle against the wet, muddy skin before it begins walking toward the side of the face. The oxpecker inches forward, stopping only when it reaches the edge of the animal's mouth. It studies the opening for a moment. Small pieces of crushed plants are still trapped between the hippo's teeth after its last meal. The bird reaches in. The hippo remains perfectly still, its enormous jaws powerful enough to crush almost anything. Gradually, its eyes begin to close, as though it has grown completely comfortable with the tiny visitor working only inches away. For a few quiet moments, neither animal rushes. One depends on careful precision, the other depends on remarkable patience. Only then does the giant slowly close its mouth. No panic, no struggle, only other routine movement. But the bird's work is still far from over. With the hippo's mouth now closed, but this river holds more than one giant in need of attention. Across the grassy bank, a herd of buffalo grazes. The oxpecker spreads its wings and leaves the hippo behind, flying low above the river.
It skims over the shimmering water. Beneath the surface, fish ripple through the current.
Along the shore, white egrets step carefully through the grass. As the morning comes fully alive, the bird keeps going until it reaches an old buffalo. It lands softly on the animal's back. Here, the job begins again. This time, the search is different. Instead of bare, muddy skin, the oxpecker must work through dense fur, hopping slowly from one patch to the next until another hidden tick finally reveals itself. For this tiny bird, every large animal is simply another place to look for its next meal. White egrets wander slowly through the reeds, watching every careful step.
Dragonflies skim across the shimmering surface before disappearing into the warm air.
But the oxpecker never stops working. For this little bird, there is always another place to search. A second oxpecker arrives, landing beside the first on the broad head of another resting hippo. Without hesitation, the two birds settle into an easy rhythm. One begins near the ear, the other works farther down the neck. Neither gets in the other's way. They move with quiet purpose, each searching a different part of the giant's body. Every few moments, a tick is spotted. One quick pull, and it disappears. Flies scatter each time the hippo twitches its thick skin, only to return moments later. The hippo remains almost completely submerged. Only its eyes and nostrils rise above the surface, while the rest of its enormous body stays hidden beneath the cool river. Balanced on its head, the two tiny birds seem almost weightless. Their feet rest on skin that belongs to one of Africa's heaviest animals, yet they continue their work without hesitation. There is nothing dramatic about what they do. No chase, no sudden attack, only patient, careful effort, repeated over and over again, because the work is never truly finished. As long as parasites continue to find these giants, the oxpeckers will always have another place to search, another meal to find, and another long day waiting ahead. But this partnership is not quite as simple as it appears from a distance. At first glance, everything about this scene looks peaceful. A giant hippo rests quietly in the river, while tiny birds move across its body. Nothing seems rushed, nothing appears dangerous, but the relationship between them is far more complicated than it seems. The oxpeckers remove ticks from the hippo's skin, and that can certainly provide some relief. Yet their work does not always stop with parasites.
Sometimes their sharp red beaks reach for the soft tissue surrounding an injury. Faced with those two problems,
nature rarely offers perfect solutions. Instead, it is filled with compromises. The light softens, the air turns warmer, and both the hippos and their tiny companions settle into the final hours of another ordinary day. But the oxpecker has not finished yet. It stands patiently on the giant's head, scanning the familiar folds of skin one final time. Near the edge of the ear, another tick comes into view. The bird leans forward, one quick pull, the last parasite of the day is gone. For a brief moment, everything becomes still. The hippo breathes slowly, the oxpecker raises its head. And when the first light returns to the Luangwa River tomorrow morning, the giant will carry its burden once again. The tiny red-billed oxpecker will return.